Hey, welcome back to Cruising in Style with K and M, the show where we help couples and families get the most out of travel. I'm Mark, and along with my wife Kim, we're here every week with real tips, honest advice, and the kind of insider knowledge that only comes from people who actually love to cruise. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button right now and tap the bell so you never miss an episode. And if today's show helps you out, we'd love it if you'd give us a like and share it with a friend who loves to travel. It truly helps us grow. All right, let's get into it.
Welcome to The Debate. Imagine this scenario for a second. You are on day 3 of a highly anticipated 7-day Caribbean cruise.
Sounds pretty good so far.
Right, but you wake up with a severe sinus infection. So you head down to the ship's medical center for a really brief consultation and, prescription.
And then the reality of maritime law sets in.
Exactly. The next morning, you check your credit card app on your phone only to find a $5,000 hold that you never explicitly authorized. It effectively freezes your checking account and causes your card to decline when you step off at the next port.
Ouch. Yeah, and you haven't been robbed.
No, you haven't. You just engaged with the economics of the modern cruise industry.
And if you were listening to this and you've ever felt that distinct pit in your stomach when the final folio is slipped under your cabin door on the last morning of a vacation, well, you know exactly how complex those economics have become.
We are dealing with a really fascinating economic divide in 2026. When navigating this industry, we have to ask a central question. Do consumers extract more value from an a la carte, base fare pricing model where you build your vacation piece by piece, or from the transparent, all-inclusive luxury models?
Right, where you pay a massive premium up front to just, never look at a bill again.
Exactly. It is a vital question, largely because the entire strategy of travel pricing is shifting right now.
Yeah, and we are going to dive into the mechanisms behind recent 2026 industry data. We aren't just going to look at the prices of automatic gratuity hikes, tiered Wi-Fi packages, or that onboard medical billing you mentioned.
We're going to explore exactly how and why cruise lines use algorithmic unbundling to separate you from your money, and of course, what that does to consumer psychology.
Right.
And throughout this discussion, I will be defending the base fare model. I argue that it acts as the ultimate tool for the cost-conscious planner.
Well, I will argue that the all-inclusive luxury model provides fundamentally superior value because it protects travelers from deceptive, hidden daily costs.
Well, let me start by articulating exactly why the base fare model is incredibly powerful. The fundamental virtue of a la carte pricing is that it democratizes travel.
Democratizes it? How so?
It operates very much like a freemium model. In software, the core product is accessible, and you pay exclusively for the upgrades you actually consume.
Okay, but the upgrades are where they get you.
Not necessarily. Let's look at the data for a 7-night Caribbean sailing on the Celebrity Apex. The advertised base fare for an interior room is $713 per person.
Right.
Now, if you opt for their all-included rate, the price jumps to $1,308.
Wow. So that's almost a $600 difference.
That is a massive $595 premium per person. For a cost-conscious planner who perhaps doesn't drink alcohol, doesn't need premium streaming satellite internet, and is perfectly happy with the already high-quality food in the main dining room, that base fare is undeniably superior.
But is it actually superior, or is it just an illusion of savings?
It is superior if you utilize what I call the honest budget formula. This is a mechanism where you sit down before you ever put down a deposit and you calculate your actual real-world consumption habits.
Like mapping out every coffee you'll drink.
Exactly. Do you drink 3 coffees a day? Do you need a VPN for work? You price those specific items out individually at the cruise line's current rates. You add them to the $713 base fare, and only then do you compare it to the all-inclusive rate.
And you're saying it comes out cheaper?
Almost always. When you do that math, the unbundled total is highly customizable and financially efficient. You are not subsidizing the excesses of the passenger in the cabin next door.
Well, I come at it from a very different way.
The concept of a quote-unquote base fare in the modern mainstream cruise industry is largely a fiction.
A fiction?
Yes, it is not designed to empower the consumer with customization. It's a mechanism engineered for delayed sticker shock. Companies use algorithmic unbundling. They mathematically determine exactly which features they can strip from the base price.
To offer a lower entry point?
To advertise the absolute lowest entry point, yes, but while guaranteeing a specific, much higher average revenue per user on the back end.
But that unbundling gives the consumer a choice.
A choice burdened with immense psychological weight. When you look at the all-inclusive luxury model, lines like Regent Seven Seas, Silver Sea, or Seabourn, you are seeing a pricing structure that is inherently more respectful of the consumer.
Respectful, but incredibly expensive.
But it respects their time and mental energy. Mainstream lines rely on an ecosystem of friction. Every specialty coffee, every bottle of sparkling water, every Wi-Fi login comes with a swipe of a key card.
Right. And an added 20% automatic service fee.
The constant necessity to evaluate whether a bottle of water is worth it, it degrades the very purpose of a vacation. True value requires transparency.
I'm not convinced by that line of reasoning, mostly because you are categorizing all unbundled costs as hidden or as friction. Let's look closely at the reality of these so-called hidden fees.
Let's do it. Gratuities are a perfect example.
You claim the base fare model is deceptive, but these prices are clearly stated in the booking process. You know exactly what the gratuities and beverage packages cost before you board.
They are stated, but they are structurally designed to feel mandatory once you are trapped in the ecosystem. I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that the base fare model is about customization. Let me tell you why.
Go ahead.
Mainstream cruise lines essentially use automatic service charges as a shadow fare increase. Let's look at the actual 2026 gratuity hikes. Carnival moved up to $17 a day for standard cabins.
Right, which isn't huge.
Princess raised theirs to $18 a day. Holland America increased to $18 a day. That is roughly $250 per couple automatically tacked onto your folio for a 7-day sailing.
Which covers the labor of the dining and housekeeping staff. That is a necessary cost.
But why is the labor of the staff separated from the cost of the ticket? The most telling example of this pricing strategy is Virgin Voyages.
Oh, right, with their tipping policy.
Exactly. They originally launched with a massive marketing campaign built entirely around a promise of no tipping. Gratuities were included in the base fare. It was their major differentiator in the market.
True.
But recently, they completely reversed course. They dropped their base fare slightly, but added a $20 per day fee. They unbundled it simply to optimize revenue and make their advertised price look more competitive on search engines.
Well,
When a cost is automatically applied to your daily folio, and the only way to customize it requires marching down to guest services, standing in line for 20 minutes, and signing a paper to dock the pay of your cabin steward, that is not a customizable option. That is a mandatory operating cost.
that's an interesting point, though. I would frame it differently. The fact that the industry separates the service charge or the beverage package from the structural cost of the voyage actually protects the frugal consumer.
Protects them from what?
From subsidizing others. Let's look at the mathematics of the beverage package. A Celebrity Classic drink package costs around $65 per person per day.
Which adds up incredibly fast.
Right, and to simply break even on that package, a passenger needs to consume roughly 8 $12 cocktails every single day.
Right, which creates a bizarre incentive where people drink past their comfort level just to beat the house.
Exactly, but the base fare model isolates that behavior. Why should a traveler who drinks tap water and standard drip coffee be forced to pay a luxury, all-inclusive fare that bakes in the cost of unlimited premium alcohol?
Because it's about the overall experience.
But when Regent or Silver Sea includes all those premium beverages in their upfront price, they aren't giving you free drinks. They are taking the mathematical average of ship-wide alcohol consumption and spreading that cost across every single ticket.
Yes, that is how insurance and bundling work.
Right, which means the non-drinker is literally financially subsidizing the heavy drinker. The base fare model isolates those costs directly to the user who generates them.
That is a compelling argument, but have you considered the cost of mental accounting?
Mental accounting?
Yeah, it's a well-documented behavioral economics concept. People treat money differently depending on its origin or how they track it. You are treating the consumer as a perfectly rational spreadsheet.
I mean, if you want to save money, you have to be a little rational.
But humans aren't spreadsheets. When you are on vacation, the constant calculation of, did I drink enough today to justify my $65 package? Or should I buy this $6 coffee or wait until lunch?
It just takes a second of thought.
It requires exhausting administrative brain power. That cognitive load, that mental accounting, is exactly what luxury travelers pay to avoid.
I understand the psychological comfort, I really do. But we have to ask if that comfort is worth a 100% price premium. And this brings us to a crucial shift in the cruise experience.
Which is?
Utilities. Drinks and specialty dining are discretionary. You can choose not to consume them. But what happens when the cruise line unbundles something that is no longer a luxury, but a fundamental modern utility? Let's talk about the digital nomad and how Wi-Fi changes this equation.
Oh, it completely shatters the a la carte model.
Does it?
Absolutely. Because once you transition from discretionary consumption to essential utilities, the cruise ship becomes a textbook example of a captive audience economy.
Well, you are on a ship.
Right. You are in the middle of the ocean. You cannot walk down the street to a local cafe to get online. The base fare model actively penalizes working travelers with exorbitant tiered pricing structures specifically designed to exploit that isolation.
But the user who requires that level of connectivity is consuming vastly more satellite bandwidth than the average guest.
And the cruise lines know it, which is why they price gouge them. If you need reliable internet to do your job at sea, to be a true digital nomad, mainstream lines view you as a walking ATM.
That's a bit harsh.
Look at Virgin's Work from Sea package. To get the VPN access and bandwidth necessary for actual productivity, it costs $50 a day.
That is steep, yes.
Norwegian's streaming pass is $40 a day. Over a 2-week cruise, you are looking at $500 to $700 just to check your email, access your company's server, and attend a morning video stand-up.
But on luxury lines,
Contrast that with all-inclusive luxury models like Viking or even Regent, where Wi-Fi is treated like electricity or running water. It's simply bundled into the fare. They understand that in 2026, internet access is foundational.
I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective on the underlying technology, because the infrastructure supporting shipboard internet has fundamentally shifted.
You mean Starlink?
Yes, the industry-wide rollout of Starlink satellite internet completely changes the economics of these packages. The bandwidth scarcity that used to justify those massive prices is rapidly evaporating.
But the prices haven't evaporated. They still charge $50 a day.
The premium prices haven't, no, but the capability of the lower tiers has skyrocketed. As a result, even the cheapest packages are becoming highly capable. Carnival offers a social plan that is just $20.40 a day.
But you can't work on a social plan.
Because Starlink lowers latency. If you are just checking in on messaging apps or basic emails, you don't actually need the $50 a day VPN package anymore.
That's a big if.
Furthermore, the forced bundling of premium high-speed Wi-Fi on luxury lines is actually a massive waste of capital for a significant demographic of travelers.
Who? The people who don't own phones?
The people who go to sea precisely to disconnect. If my entire goal is to leave my laptop at home, put my phone in the safe, and read a paperback by the pool for 7 days, the all-inclusive model forces me to pay hundreds of dollars for satellite bandwidth I am actively trying to avoid.
I hear your point about Starlink, but the basic tier on a base fare line is often intentionally throttled by the cruise line's IT department.
To upsell you?
Yes, it's artificial scarcity. If your $20 social plan is throttled so heavily that you can't even load a boarding pass for your flight home without the page timing out, you are forced to march down to the internet cafe and upgrade to the premium tier anyway.
I mean, that is certainly a risk of the freemium model.
It creates a structural incentive to degrade the basic experience.
Okay, but let's move away from these predictable daily expenses. The Wi-Fi, the coffees, the gratuities. Let's look at the extreme edge of cruise economics.
The unpredictable stuff.
Right. We need to explore how these two different pricing philosophies prepare travelers for unpredictable, catastrophic expenses, specifically severe onboard medical emergencies.
Oh, this is where the structural flaws of the base fare model become genuinely dangerous. And it centers on what is known in the industry as the C-Pass credit card trap.
The trap we touched on at the beginning.
Exactly. People board these massive mainstream ships completely unaware of how maritime medical billing actually functions. Because these ships are flagged in foreign countries, like the Bahamas or Panama, and operate in international waters, they bypass domestic healthcare regulations entirely.
Right. So a cruise ship medical center operates effectively as an unregulated, out-of-network, private emergency clinic.
And the costs reflect that isolation. They are staggering. An after-hours in-cabin doctor visit runs between $300 and $600 just for the doctor to walk through your door and look at you.
Just the walk through the door.
Yes. If you need monitoring and an IV, an overnight stay in the ship's infirmary costs $1,000 to $3,000 per day.
Which is wild.
And because of the maritime law loopholes, domestic Medicare provides absolutely zero coverage, and your standard land-based health insurance plan won't directly pay the ship.
Which means the passenger is responsible for settling the balance in full before they are legally allowed to disembark.
Precisely. And the mechanism of how they collect that bill is what creates the trap. These massive, multi-thousand-dollar medical charges are instantly posted to the passenger's C-Pass account.
Wait, so it hits the internal card?
Yes, the internal cruise card tied to the credit card they put on file at the terminal for buying, like, $10 souvenirs. Suddenly, a $5,000 infirmary bill for a severe stomach bug hits the folio. It maxes out their standard credit limit on day 3.
Wow.
Their funds are instantly locked up. Their card declines in port when they try to buy lunch. Their vacation is effectively ruined by the financial logistics alone.
And you believe the luxury model solves this?
Travelers paying premium all-inclusive fares are inherently better insulated from this friction. First, because the demographic is paying a massive premium up front. They generally utilize credit cards with much higher limits.
So they can absorb the point of sale charge.
Exactly. Second, luxury lines provide significantly more robust concierge support to guide guests through these high-stakes logistical nightmares. The budget-conscious cruiser on a base fare line is left entirely exposed.
I have to push back there. I'm not convinced by that line of reasoning because you are conflating the cost of a cruise ticket with actual risk mitigation.
How so?
Let's look at the truly catastrophic end of the spectrum. An all-inclusive cruise fare, no matter how luxurious, no matter how much concierge hand-holding they provide, does absolutely nothing to cover the cost of a private helicopter medevac.
Well, true, a medevac is a different beast.
If a passenger suffers a critical cardiac event in the middle of the Atlantic and requires an air ambulance to a land-based hospital, that private transport costs between $50,000 and $100,000.
Right. Your $10,000 luxury ticket on Silversea doesn't pay that bill. The solution to medical cost risk isn't choosing a luxury cruise line with an all-inclusive beverage package. The solution is purchasing primary medical travel insurance.
Primary insurance being the critical mechanism there.
Precisely. Primary travel insurance pays the eligible expenses first, meaning the passenger doesn't have to file with their domestic health provider, deal with out-of-network maritime rejections, and wait 6 months for reimbursement while their credit card accrues 24% interest.
I agree that insurance is necessary, and here is the mathematical reality of the base fare model. A smart, cost-conscious planner who books a $700 base fare cruise and then uses their savings to spend $150 on a robust primary travel insurance policy, they are infinitely better protected against catastrophic financial ruin than a traveler who paid $4,000 for an all-inclusive luxury suite but neglected to buy insurance.
That is a mathematically sound point about the medevac. But you are assuming a level of consumer education that the base fare model actively works against.
Works against? I think it encourages budgeting.
You are ignoring the concept of decision fatigue. The entire a la carte ecosystem trains passengers from the moment they book to aggressively decline add-ons to keep the advertised price down.
Well, they have to stick to their budget.
Exactly. They say no to the drink package. They say no to the specialty dining. They say no to the Wi-Fi. By the time they see the prompt for travel insurance at checkout, their instinct honed by a gauntlet of upsells is to simply click no.
I see.
The luxury model doesn't constantly nickel and dime. which means when a luxury passenger is advised by their travel agent to secure a primary medical policy, they aren't suffering from decision fatigue. They purchased the protection because their cognitive load hasn't been depleted by 100 separate microtransactions.
That is a really fascinating way to look at how pricing models shape behavior. As we draw this discussion to a close, let's summarize our positions in light of the economic mechanisms we've explored today.
Sounds good.
My core argument remains that the base fare model, despite the very real complexities of navigation, is the most economically efficient choice for the disciplined consumer. By utilizing an honest budget formula, calculating exactly what you need before you board, a traveler can add the exact gratuities, the specific a la carte dining, and the precise internet tier they require.
If they have the patience for it.
Right, it does require effort. But this model isolates costs. It ensures that you can craft a premium experience without subsidizing the excesses, whether that's alcohol or satellite bandwidth, of the other passengers on board. That effort translates directly into optimal capital allocation.
And my summary is that the all-inclusive luxury model provides unparalleled transparency, which in 2026 is the ultimate luxury.
Transparency over savings.
By eliminating the friction of algorithmic unbundling, daily automatic service charges, tiered Wi-Fi gating, and the psychological burden of delayed sticker shock, luxury lines deliver true value. The a la carte model relies on obscuring the final cost.
I wouldn't say obscuring.
It penalizes remote workers who rely on essential utilities, and it exposes exhausted passengers to financial traps like the CPAS medical billing structure through shared decision fatigue. Absolute transparency provides a mental and psychological relief that is well worth the upfront premium.
Well, it is clear the core tension here remains unresolved. It truly comes down to a philosophical choice between ultimate customization and absolute transparency. Do you prefer the spreadsheet optimization of paying strictly for what you use, or the mental freedom of paying once and never looking at a ledger again?
Exactly. And we haven't even touched on some of the other layers within the 2026 data that highlight this economic divide.
Oh, there's so much more.
For instance, the sheer disparity in shore excursion pricing, where mainstream lines can charge a massive algorithmic markup per port to capture revenue versus lines like Regent that simply include them. Or the granular nuances of onboard laundry packages.
Oh, the laundry packages.
Right? Where a single wash and fold bag on Royal Caribbean is now running $34.99 because they know you have absolutely no other options.
There is certainly much more to explore in how these complex pricing philosophies shape the modern travel experience. It is ultimately up to the listener to weigh the evidence, calculate their own behavioral habits, and determine which economic model truly aligns with their values. So the next time you look at an astoundingly low base fare advertised online, ask yourself, are you just looking at the hook, or are you prepared to navigate the true cost of the ecosystem?
Quick word from Adventures by K and M. If today's episode got you thinking about your next cruise, we'd love to help you plan it. Kim and I are full-service travel advisors specializing in luxury cruises for couples. We handle everything, the research, the booking, the details. So all you have to do is show up and enjoy. And here's the best part. Our planning services are completely free to you. We're paid by the cruise lines, not by you. So if you're ready to start dreaming, head to adventuresbycandem.info or grab the link in the description to book a free discovery call. We'd love to help you plan something unforgettable.